Hey everyone, and welcome to Geeksvana Live for a special breaking news edition to bring you some exciting news, certainly for the FPV community here in the UK. I don't know anybody else, but I have a little sing along to our theme tune, the second song in our intro, as it's playing, and yeah, I like that song. Hopefully, I'm never going to press the button and accidentally hear me full on singing, because I now leave my mic hot, because as regular viewers will know, I'm a bit of a one for coming on air with a muted microphone, and I'm still looking at the chat to make sure everything is running correctly. So everyone in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. That would really help. So we have, as you know, on Geeksvana, been covering a lot of the regulations all around the world, mainly in the US and the UK here, from the point of view of how things are changing. Of course, we've got remote ID over in the US, which is coming pretty soon, an announcement on that. And here in the UK, we're about to switch across to a whole new raft of drone regulations, which is now under the CAA CAP 722 document. Essentially, it's the adoption of the EASA drone regulations. But you know, it's going to be quite exciting for a lot of us. Some of us who have already taken our A2 CFC certificates as camera drone flyers, we're very excited with what that's going to give us as far as permissions, etc. Well, you will also know in a lot of those videos, I often talk about the FPV community, and I will talk about the fact that I feel like it isn't necessarily the fairest thing in the world that they have been essentially brought into all of the regulation with the camera drone side of things. It is very much a separate hobby, and one that I think possibly deserves to have its own set of regulations. I kind of see FPV and camera drones, I don't know about you guys in the chat, but I see that as a difference between cars and motorbikes. There should be slightly different regulations involved in those. So we have had the announcement today of an issuing of a new notification, a new, excuse me, when I get the document to the top of the page. There we go. A new operational authorization for model aircraft under Article 16. And this is pretty much, I'll switch screens here first of all. You have to excuse me for looking towards the monitors here, but I've got the documentation, etc., up here in front of me on this screen. So this is an unmanned aircraft operational authorization, which obviously has been granted by the United Kingdom Civil Aviation Authority. And the idea here is that this is going to be providing members of some set associations, as you can see them listed here at the top, the BMFA, SAA, LMA and FPVUK, certain exemptions. Now, when I got I'm a member of the BMFA. When I got mine through, I got a very nice little PDF through from them, as you can see here, which explained everything that the people at my club who fly model aircraft are going to be able to do under this authorization, which is going to make model flying something which is still going to be very much a simple activity, sport, hobby to carry out. There were concerns again that the model aircraft side of things could get hindered too much by being dragged into the camera drone side of things. So yes, this basically has led to that. Now, one thing that's important to note here is this does actually exclude the drones with any kind of automated system. So your DJIs, your camera drones, that type of thing, that's actually going to be excluded, unfortunately, from this. So, bear with me just 1 second. We seem to be having a problem with chat at the moment. I'm just going to refresh my chat so I can see what everybody is actually saying. Bear with me just 2 seconds. Apologies, because it is bugging me. Press that, press this. And there we go, nice and refreshed now. Okay, so yes, so please let me know in the chat if you are an FPV flyer here in the UK, because this will certainly be of information to you. So the BMFA document was important, it was interesting, it was fantastic to hear from my fellow model aircraft flyers, but it didn't necessarily give me anything as a drone flyer, any kind of information, because the quads that I fly, the drones that I fly, are excluded from the regulations. Well, there is something different happening here as far as the FPV side of things is concerned. So let's have a quick look through this document. So as it says there, you can see all of the associations that I've just mentioned in the association names and the point of contact at all of those. BMFA, SAA, LMA, FPVUK, Simon Dale, of course, who has been instrumental in gaining a lot of the FPV exemptions here. And you'll also know him as the chap from the AirProx work, very important work that he does on the AirProx side of things as well. So yes, here we are with looking down through the different sides of the operational information here. Obviously, that you have to be registered, the maximum takeoff mass, that type of thing. This is one of the key parts of it, which I'm very interested in, which is location of operation. So we'll read through this. The authorization may be used throughout the United Kingdom at any established model flying club, as you'd expect, any established model flying club located in a built-up area as defined in section 7.1, which is a definition we'll jump onto, must conduct a risk assessment with suitable mitigations. This must be made available to members flying at that site who must be familiar with it, or any other suitable area which is not in a built-up area as defined in section 7.1, other than the circumstances defined in 2.a below. A built-up area which is only used substantially for recreational purposes may be considered as a suitable area. So that's a fantastic thing. Operation within such an area must be supported by a risk assessment. So we'll pop down to the definitions here, which is 7.1, which is also a very important side of things. So definitions here, you've got automated model aircraft, a model aircraft with autonomous or automatic flight capability. This does not include systems which are fitted for flight stabilization purposes or flight termination purposes, such as free flight termination devices. Obviously, you've got a definition there of built-up area, which is the one that we already know from the Geeksvana video last week. First-person view. In first-person view operations, the remote pilot flies the aircraft using images provided by the cameras aboard the aircraft. When flying FPV, the remote pilot cannot monitor the flight path in relation to other aircraft, persons, vehicles, vessels, and structures for the purposes of avoiding collisions. To the same extent, a remote pilot maintaining external, unaided visual line of contact with the aircraft. Okay, I think we can probably understand that. And it actually... One part which, because of course this is based on model aircraft, one part which brings FPV into this is note 1 under model aircraft, which says this includes multi-rotor aircraft which are being flown with direct control inputs and without any automation other than for flight stabilization purposes. So let's click across to the FPVUK website and their news update on this. And I will run through this with you because this brings their key points out. Following several years of negotiations, the CAA has today issued UAS-7068, UAS Implementing Regulation Article 16 Operational Authorization. So when the rules change on the 31st of December, so that's from the 31st of December 2020, as with all the other drone rules under CAP 722, this authorization will allow association members to enjoy privileges beyond the new rules, such as flying FPV without a competent observer for each drone in a sterile area, such as a race location. So if you're in an organised race or an organised race of FPVUK site, a member area, member club, you're not going to have to have a competent observer for each drone, which I think is obviously extremely positive in my opinion. Next up, flying FPV with a competent observer. So they are still saying that if you're outside of the sterile environment, the club environment as such, that you will still have to have a competent observer. But let's leave that one aside for a moment. You can then obviously fly your aircraft up to 400 feet. Flying in a park, a built-up area is normally defined as an area substantially used for industrial, recreational, commercial or residential purposes and is now allowed. Under the authorization, flight is allowed in an area used for recreational purposes, for only recreational purposes, such as a park. So this means the fears that we had essentially is that it was basically we were going to see a situation where FPV flights, you pick up your quads, you go out to your local park, you fly perfectly safely with an observer, of course, but that park is within a town, within a built-up area, that was going to be stopped from the 31st, essentially, 31st December. But this is actually saying that due to the negotiations that have been carried out by Mr. Dale and the FPV UK club membership, you are actually going to be able to fly in those areas still. Also, flying to a distance of 30 meters from uninvolved people, 15 meters on takeoff and landing. This is a bubble around the person, unlike the open category, which is a horizontal distance, i.e. overflight is allowed for association members. So again, this is another really key point. We are going from a bubble, so when you have your 50 meter, 150 meter distances there is an element of being able to use a bubble at the moment. Under the new EASA rules, it's going to be a cone. Those distances cannot be penetrated. For instance, 50 meters of a proper property just because you're 50 meters or more up in the air. On this, they're actually going to be allowing you to fly to a distance of 30 meters for uninvolved people, 15 meters on takeoff and landing. And they are confirming that it is a bubble, which means you are actually going to be able to have overflights. So those perfectly safe flights that everybody's been enjoying on in the United Kingdom parks up and down the country with their FPV drones, with their spotter next to them, of course, is still going to be allowed. It's still going to be 100% permitted. Now, I keep sidestepping the observer side of things because that's obviously already a stipulation, and so I assume people are already taking care of that particular issue themselves. So that's the rundown of what the FPVUK are saying about it, and they're saying that a new FPVUK handbook accompanies the authorization and is available on that link for members. I will, of course, put all of the links to these articles in the description below, including the FPVUK news article and, of course, the operational authorization UAS-7068 under the Model Aircraft Article 16. So this is very exciting. I would love to hear from anybody that's watching this on the replay. If you can put in the chat below, the comments below, what you think about this and whether or not you see this as a significant gain above the EASA rules which are coming in specifically for the FPV community. It has to be said, obviously model aircraft flyers as well, but my audience is very much drone flyers. So as I say, that's basically everything we had to run through with you today. And we are live again tomorrow night, 9 p.m. UK on Thursday, which is already the 17th of December, which is quite scary. And we're going to be doing a review of 2020, covering the big news stories which the channel has been lucky enough to cover, interviews and straight stories. That's with myself and my co-host Stephen Sutton. So come along and join us 9 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. Eastern for that one. And we'll see you then, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me today.